Hello. Today we reached 15,000 subscribers in our YouTube channel. So, first and foremost, thank you. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed and given me their time. It's been a surprise, to be honest with you. I just started this YouTube channel as something I did not even know what the hell I was doing, but over the past 12 years, I guess, um, we have progressed a long way. So first and foremost, thank you so much. Today I just want to tell you how I got into dogs and dog training and all that, and hope you will find it interesting. So this is not anything to do with dog training, but I just want to tell you about my journey. Ever since I was a boy, I was always interested in animals, and I wanted to become a veterinarian because I wanted to work with animals. But like any Indian family, you don't get to do what you really want to do. You do what your parents ask you to do, and my mother thought that I would make a better living if I did my engineering. So I did my B and my ME, and I went away to foreign lands to earn money and all that. But this desire for me to work with animals never died. When I was a child, my grandfather used to have 100 cattle. It include milk cows and oxen and bulls and all that. And I used to be with them all the time. I liked those cattle more than I liked humans. I used to smell like them. If I go to the cow shed in the morning, I'll come home only in the evening. So I've always been fascinated with animals. But when I went to Australia first, of course I was alone, and it's a new country and I didn't know anyone there. So there was, and Australia compared to India, it's a very lonely country, just even if you have friends, because there are so less number of people. So anyway, I noticed that there was a dog which was, which belonged to my neighbor who used to live opposite to my house. So every day when I came back from work, she used to come and look at me. Her name was Amber. I still remember her. And slowly I started interacting with her, and she was such a sweet dog. Obviously, a golden retriever, that too a female. She was just wonderful, and she was my friend. When I was in Australia, she was my friend, and I used to take her for a walk. I approached the neighbors and asked them if I can take your dog for a walk and all that. And that's the first experience I had with a dog, believe it or not. And I was I don't know, 27 years old, 20 years ago almost. Yeah. So, and then I moved to the US, and when I moved to the US, I used to again just walk my neighbors' dogs because I like to be around dogs. And then I thought, man, I have to start to learn training dogs. So in the dumbest possible move that was ever made by a human being, I bought this book called How to Train a Dog by Conrad Most. If you if you ever want to learn how to train a dog, read that book, but don't use anything in that. Okay, don't make the mistake I made. And the dog that I subjected to this injurious training was a border collie named Tucker, and he was my neighbor's dog. And these methods are so outdated and horrible that it's beyond words. But I thought, man, that's the right way to train the dog. Okay, so I bought myself a prong collar and I put it on Tucker. And being a border collies will make even an idiot trainer look good. So he was doing everything I asked him to do, and I thought, man, I'm a really good trainer now. So I was like that for a few years, and then I left the US. I came back to India and I built my own house, and I had the time and the resources, and I thought, I'm going to get a dog. So the first dog I got was Curry. Let me introduce you to my Curry and we'll proceed with this story. So this is Curry. He was my first dog and I got him from underneath a car near my farm in Pollachi. His mother was a village dog, and she started hunting sheep. So she was killed. She was shot to death, and this fellow was a little tiny puppy, and I got him from underneath an old Hadassah classic car. So when I got him, I wanted to train him to be the best possible dog there is. Kariya, give up, na? Give up. Okay. Good boy. Good boy. So what happened was, that was not part of his agenda. He wanted none of it. And for 3 years, I struggled with him. And I was quite harsh with him and all that. Because for me, training the dog was very important. It was almost like it hurt my ego when I could not train him. So finally, after 3 years of training him, I received an email from Leslie McDevitt. I don't know if you've heard of her. And she sent me a copy of her book for free, looking at my videos. And one of those things in her book struck me. And it said that some dogs do not want to be trained and it is okay. And when I saw a very, very gifted and very renowned trainer say that some dogs don't want to be trained, that took a burden off my shoulders. And from that day forward, my relationship with my Curry changed. And he has been my little darling ever since. And ever since I stopped putting pressure on him, our relationship has just gone miles and miles into the good zone. Good boy. Ammani. Very good children. The next dog I got was Bumi, and she is 1 in a million, and she is the most expressive, the most affectionate, and there are no adjectives in the English language that can do justice to who she is. What I want to tell you most about Bumi is that she is the most forgiving dog I have ever seen, and till a few years ago, maybe till like 6-7 years ago, I used to use punishment as part of my training. Of course, I used clicker and all that, but when the dog did not do what I asked it to do, I thought I had to inflict pain on the dog or punishment on the dog or some sort of pressure on the dog to get the dog to do what I wanted it to do because of my own ignorance. But she so gracefully forgave all those mistakes, and she's one of, I don't know if I'll ever have a dog like her again in my life, because she's literally like my daughter. You are a Bumma. Ammadi, Madi Lokocho. Good girl, ma. Fellow quality. Bumma, go back, ma. Go back. Ma. So the next dog I got was Kaiser. Kaiser was a Doberman, and he was a male Doberman, and he was with me only for 2 years. And unfortunately, I lost him to rabies. He was bit by a street dog, and he contracted rabies even though he was vaccinated, because at that point of time I did not know that you had to again vaccinate 0, 3, 7, 14 and 21 on days, even if your dog is vaccinated. And oddly enough, my veterinarian also didn't know it. So it was one of the most devastating losses I've ever suffered. And it's not because my dog died. it is mostly because my dog had to die alone in a cage, and that is no way to die. So, after I lost Kaiser, I realized two things. The first thing is, never again will I ever let that happen to any of my dogs. Death is, it's a given. Everyone has to die. But I will never let my dogs die alone. That I have clearly understood. The second thing is, I stopped being an asshole to my dogs. I just stopped it because my time with them, I realized that my time with them is so precious that I can't waste my time being an asshole to the dog just because the dog doesn't do some little thing that I want the dog to do. Of course, my dog does all the things that I ask them to do, but I thought that I had to apply pressure on the dog to bring complaints because I did not understand how training works. So, more on that pretty soon. But this girl is fantastic because I used to apply pressure on her, and when I stopped applying pressure on her, she totally forgave me. Whereas Curry still remembers. Curry never forgave me. All these things are human terms, forgive and all that. But what I'm saying is, she is so trusting. It's amazing. She's like my daughter. I love her to death. Good girl. So the next dog I got was Helga. She's a padinga. Sada poi pade. Sada sonnathe girl poi pade. Sada kochikatama. Padikide. Good boy. So the next dog I got was Helga, and she is basically a golden retriever in the body of a Doberman. She is an obedience champion. She is an excellent obedience dog, but she has no aggression towards strangers. She thinks everyone is her friend and she just wants to be friends with everybody in this world. So that is Helga, and I have had no problems with her. She is just the sweetest dog. I love her to death, and she is there for up for any sort of training. She is so quick, so motivated, and Sada paduma no Sada elendre povum edathukku. Smart boy, thank you. And she's just a wonderful dog, and I have had no problems with her. But the good thing is, by the time I got her, I had totally quit compulsion training. So maybe that is the reason why she is so super with regards to obedience, or maybe she is just born that way. But she is I call her my little potato because she is fat like me, and she even responds to that. Hey, good girl. Good girl. So the last dog I got was Hadassah. He is a male Doberman, and the reason why, of course, he has won many obedience championships as well, and the reason why you always see him with me is because he has a heart condition, and I know that my time with him is limited as well. So I want to make the most out of it, and I want to make sure that he is comfortable, and that is why he is always with me. I don't let him out of my sight, and he doesn't like to be out of my sight. So this is my Sada, and I love him to death. And the two dogs that have never been subjected to any sort of pressure, like pain or prong collar or anything like that, are Sada and Helga. Bommi and Curry, I subjected them to punishment, physical punishment, and that was bad for me as a person, and bad for the dog, and bad for the training as well. So that is the story of my little family and where I came from. So maybe this video is not useful as far as training is concerned, but I just wanted to give my viewers a brief history of who I am and where I come from and who my dogs are and how my philosophy has changed. Okay, thank you. So the entire purpose of my YouTube channel is to document my journey along with my dogs. Of course, sometimes I put some cycling nonsense and most of you don't like it, but I like bicycles, so it's my channel and I'm going to put what I want. But most of it is about dogs, and what I want to do is I want to share my journey and the mistakes and the learnings that I have collected so that others can benefit. If I had to sum up the learnings I have had over the past 20 years, it is just that you have to be a peaceful, kind, and thoughtful person to train an animal. You have to be a peaceful, kind, empathetic, and thoughtful person. Of course, I am not saying that if my dog goes and bites somebody, I will just be peaceful. I will intervene. But if you have been peaceful, thoughtful, empathetic, and kind to your dog ever since it was a puppy, the chances of your dog going out and doing something like that is almost next to zero. So that question doesn't even arise. So people ask me, you say you are against punishing the dog. What will you do if your dog misbehaves? Of course, I have to intervene. I will intervene. But I have never had the need to intervene because it never happens if you train your dog properly. So if you have to take something from this video, be patient, be kind, be empathetic, put yourself in the dog's position and just chill out and be a nice person. That's all. And I hope that I'll keep continuing this journey and produce more videos that may be helpful for somebody somewhere. Thank you everyone. Thanks for watching my channel. And I'll meet you in the next video. Bye.